In this lesson, we're going to walk through the basics of balancing a mix and explain the differences between volume balancing, pan balancing, and tonal balancing. And here we have a track provided by a band called Henry Martin, which I had the privilege to record and mix. And this song is called Not My Own. And if we jump into our edit window, you'll see that we already have song markers, which are a great start because this can easily help us to jump into different sections of the songs as we're working on the mix. Now, mind you, a mix cannot be done in 10 minutes. You really have to use this session on your own and practice. Try different things, try different EQ settings, distortion, compression, reverbs, delays, and just really have fun with it and try to get it matched to where it sounds even and not distracting. So I'll play the song from beginning to end, and I'll jump around the different markers so you can kind of get an idea what the song sounds like.
There was once a time, calm brown simple days. There was once a time I was oblivious, when I was just fine to be blind to suffering.
So as you can hear from the song, it's a live band playing. We have live drums, bass guitar, acoustic guitar, and electric guitars, and one lead singer. And by the nature of how the song starts, let's jump into the beginning. We have a shaker, acoustic guitar, and this entire section right here before the drums kick in, it's about 1 minute and 30 seconds. It's just acoustic guitar. So that right away tells us that the acoustic guitar, it's one of the main elements of the song. Obviously, the lead vocal is the most important thing on almost every genre of music that I've worked in. So you want to make sure that when you're mixing, the lead vocal is always the star of the show. And all the instruments and everything else is supporting that, telling the story. But let's jump into our mixer. And I've done some of the prep work for you already, but you can obviously bypass these plugins and start from scratch. But there's a couple of things that I want to highlight. So if we jump into our end section of the song where we have all these guitars, let's go ahead and make a selection here. Let's actually just play it from the outro. There we go. Let's mute our lead vocal and let's listen to our guitars. So in the outro of the song, we have 2 acoustic guitars and 2 electric guitars. And when you're mixing, you want to make a decision. Okay, what is the more important thing? Because there's always a compromise. You can't have everything blasting fully loud because it's not going to sound like music. So in this case, let's kind of do a little detective work and listen to each instrument at a time. Starting with the guitar. So that's the main guitar that carries on throughout the entire song. Let's listen to this end acoustic guitar now. So that's more of a, arpeggio supporting guitar. Let's listen to the lead guitar one now. Okay, so that has some little guitar fills. And lastly, let's listen to the lead guitar too. Great, so we have to make a decision. First of all, they can't be all as loud. Secondly, we can adjust the balance of these guitars by using the pan. For example, I can take this end acoustic guitar picking and pan it to the left or to the right. So let's just move it around and see where it might fit best. So by using the pan and also by using the volume, I can balance it and try to find a spot for it in the stereo field. Let's leave it there for now, and now let's bring in our next instrument, which is going to be our lead guitar 2. Okay, lastly, let's bring in our lead guitar 1 and find a place for it. Now that we made those decisions by using the volume fader and using the pan, let's play that in contrast to the rest of the music. Another way that you can help for instruments to fit inside of a mix is by applying tonal changes. So we talked about volume balancing, which is using the slider, the fader here. We talked about panning, which is moving it from left to right. But now let's talk about EQ or tonal changes. So let's jump into a different part of the song. Let's jump into the intro where the vocals come in. Unmute that. And now we're going to listen to the lead vocal and the acoustic guitar. And for now, we'll bypass the EQ just by right-clicking it and choosing bypass.
There was once a time, called the simple days, when I would run and laugh and dance and play the entire day. There was once a time.
So here we have a decision to make. If the acoustic guitar is getting in the way of the vocals, and what I mean by that is that if the listener is being distracted by the acoustic guitar when they're trying to listen to the singer, then we have a problem. Turning it down might not solve a problem because it might sound like the guitar is too small. Let me play this back.
There was once a time, called the simple days, when I would run and laugh and dance and play.
So now it sounds like the guitar is just too low and the vocal is too loud. So a way around that is by using EQ. First, let me bring the guitar up. And let's enable our EQ 7. And we'll just choose factory default. So it's flat. A way to figure out which frequencies to boost or cut is by listening to 2 or more instruments at the same time. In this case, we have the lead vocals, which we're going to leave alone, and we're going to listen to the acoustic guitar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this dot here and boost the frequency and kind of sweep and fish around to see, okay, which frequency is getting in the way of the vocals. Once I find that area, then I'm going to bring it down. And hopefully that allows me to get the guitars and the vocals to sit together in the mix. And the reason I say hopefully is because there are no hard rules. You really have to experiment with this. We might even have to add compression so that it's not getting in the way. But let's start with EQ first.
There was once a time, called the simple days, when I would run and laugh and dance and play the entire day. There was once a time called the innocence, when I was just small and light.
So the thing that you should be listening for is don't lose your focus away from the vocals. And it's almost impossible to ignore the guitar. It's just asking for attention. We think that the frequency is around here, which is almost 1K. Now let's bring the gain down and let's check if the guitar fits better with the vocals.
There was once a time, called the simple days, when I would run and laugh and dance and play the entire day. There was once a time called the innocence.
So this helps out. By making a cut around 1K of about 5 dB, I was able to turn up the volume of the guitar and it's not getting in the way of the vocals. But I also hear another frequency. Let's get rid of that clankiness of the acoustic guitar because it's becoming a little bit too distracting as well.
There was once a time called the simple days, when I would run and laugh and dance and play the entire day. There was once a time called the innocence, when I was just small and life seemed so big.
So by using EQ, we were able to bring up the overall volume of our guitar, and it's able to sit better in the vocals without distracting the star of the show. Also, by using panning, we were able to make multiple guitars fit in the mix to where they're not clouding each other. And this is a quick way of approaching a mix and balancing the mix. But because you have the session, you can easily practice and take this mix in any direction that you want to go.